Artgrid has become such an invaluable tool to me as a creative. And in this video, I just want to talk about a few reasons why that may be for me personally, and it probably would apply to you as well, and why I really think you should seriously consider subscribing to Artgrid if you aren't already. Well, what's going on, everyone? My name is Tyler Edwards. I am a filmmaker based out of Colorado, and as I just mentioned, we're going to be talking about Artgrid in this video. Now, first things first, I am a happy paying subscriber to Artgrid. I pay $50 a month for the pro subscription plan. It's awesome. It really is. And that's why I was super stoked to make this video when the folks at Artgrid reached out to me to make a sponsored video. I was more than happy to do it and super stoked to do it because I'm already a paying subscriber and I have no plans to stop continuing to pay for my subscription because I really do believe in that product. Wanted to throw that out there because I know sometimes sponsored videos can be maybe a little biased because whatever the case may be, but I just want you to know I'm a paying subscriber and I absolutely love it, and we're going to get into a few reasons why I love it here in just a minute. But first of all, what is Artgrid? Well, Artgrid is an online subscription-based video licensing platform. So if you've ever heard of Artlist, it is the sister company of Artlist. Artgrid is the sister company of Artlist, and Artlist is basically music licensing. Well, Artgrid is basically the video licensing version of Artlist, if you can think of it in that way. Now, at the time of recording this, there are 3 subscription plans to choose from, and as you can see from this fancy little chart, you can kind of get an idea of all of the different features of each of the plans. For me personally, I chose to go with the Pro plan, which is at about $50 a month, and that basically just gives me access to the footage in its raw format, like R3D files or Blackmagic RAW, whatever the case may be, or even log ProRes files. So I just have a little bit more flexibility in grading. So when I incorporate it into my projects, I can grade it the way I want to make it fit a little bit more seamlessly with regards to the color grade, as opposed to trying to work with the kind of Rec 709 graded footage in the other plans. And the quality of footage is absolutely spectacular on Artgrid. I mean, we're talking footage shot on Airy and Red, Blackmagic, whatever the case, DJI Inspire. Like, I mean, we're talking about really high quality cameras, really high quality footage. And behind those cameras are really talented cinematographers smashing that record button and allowing us to license that footage. So we're not dealing with like that cheesy corporate stock footage. We're using really high quality footage, and that's one of the reasons why I went with Artgrid. Now, that being said, I guess I already said one of the reasons, but that being said, let's talk about a few reasons that I personally use Artgrid and why I think it is such a valuable platform to subscribe to. If I were to generalize all these reasons up into 2 words, it would be budget and time. Well, I guess time constraints, so 3 words, but whatever. Yes, budget and time constraints. That is typically when I use Artgrid for my client work. A couple of examples. Number 1, budget. I was shooting an interview and the talent was talking about when they were living in one state and they moved to another state for a while, and that was a big part of their story. Well, this client did not have the budget to fly me to that other location for me to get B-roll and drone footage and all that kind of stuff, nor did we have the time. It was a really tight turnaround and there just wasn't enough time in the schedule to be able to go out and get those shots. So what I did is I went onto Artgrid, typed in the location of where they moved to in the story, and was able to get some drone footage and stuff that kind of helped move that story along. Another really fun example, this is pretty recently, was a potential client approached me about a video that they wanted to do, just kind of more of like an inspirational video about their product, not necessarily about their product, but just kind of about the pandemic and kind of how they worked through it and everything. So they had a script and they had a voiceover artist already lined up. So they shared with me the VO and the script and kind of what their vision was for the video. And they also shared with me what their budget was. And the budget was pretty much enough to cover a few days of editing for me. And when I started looking at it and kind of looked at the needs of the client, I realized that I could do the entire project using just stock footage from Artgrid. So I told them right up front, I said, hey, I think I can do this. I would be able to do this with stock footage. I'm going to license it from a really reputable, high quality licensing platform, and they seemed really good with it, and landed the contract and did the video, and they were super stoked on it. They did not care that it was licensed footage or stock footage. I think stock footage kind of gets a bad rep these days because you kind of think of that like cheesy corporate stock footage. But again, all the stuff on Artgrid is just super high quality. It's just on another level, really high caliber stuff. So the client, they just did not care that it was stock footage or anything. They just cared about their final product, and they were super stoked on it. And I've done a number of videos where I've, maybe it's a bumper video for a church, or like an intro video or something where they wanted to have it for against a voiceover or whatever the case may be. I've used stock footage completely to be able to land that project and land that client, and they've been super stoked on it. And from that, I've gotten more and more work. And the whole idea for me, like my whole thought process with using Artgrid and licensing footage is not necessarily for me as a filmmaker, but for me as a business person to my clients, is how can I add value to my clients' projects? And if budget and timing doesn't allow me to go out and get all the footage myself, I can still add that value by licensing that footage and putting that in the projects, and really kind of upping the production value of my clients' videos that would not be possible had it not be for subscribing to Artgrid. So if you're on the fence about Artgrid or licensing footage, let me just tell you this, it's completely worth it. I personally think it's worth paying the $50 a month, simply because you have access to the raw unlocked footage, and the footage is just super high quality. I'm really picky with stock footage, and I think a lot of us filmmakers are, because we all want the nicest cameras and we all want the best resolution and dynamic range and all that kind of stuff. Well, a lot of the stock footage is shot using some of the highest end cameras out there that have the most dynamic range and resolution and all those specs that we care about, but to the point where they're shot so beautifully that you can incorporate them in your projects and it just looks so seamless. So without a doubt, I highly recommend Artgrid. I currently use it. I currently pay for it. I love it. I'm going to continue using it because of how much value it adds to my client projects and to my client work. And to me, that's what's most important to me, is to make sure that my clients are happy, that I'm giving them the best product possible, instead of holding out and not adding footage in just because it's not footage that I shot. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say about Artgrid. I mean, there's a lot of good things to say about Artgrid, but that is kind of my thoughts and my use cases summed up in this video. Somewhat organized, probably not, but it's what it is. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you found this helpful or informative, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button, give me that thumbs up, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, happy shooting. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.